Hi, my name is Julie Thompson. I'm the guest host for Pembroke Today, which is the brainchild of Ed Thorne, the town manager. Hi, Ed.
Jules, always a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to today's activities.
Lots to talk about.
Yep, we sure do.
Let's start with there's a new curbside textile.
Right, this is sponsored by Waste Zero,
Yep.
and they have a program called Simple Recycling, and we signed a contract with them a little while ago, and this is going to provide free recycling service in addition to the curbside recycling that we have. Everybody in town is going to be getting a mailer the beginning of October, and in it will include informational packages and also sample bags that you're going to be able to use to put at the curb the same day as your trash and recycling pickup.
Okay.
This is free of charge. It's not going to be charged to the town or anything. And people are going to be able to put textiles, used, new, old, whatever,
Okay.
Whether it would be clothes, towels, shoes, handbags,
Right.
et cetera, and also small appliances like toasters and what have you that you could literally carry out. You know, we're not going to ask you to put a stove out or anything like that.
That's great.
But you're going to be able to put that out there. And what it'll do is it'll reduce the amount of tonnage that goes into the trash pickup.
Absolutely.
Now, we have the recycling that goes through Waste Management Avon.
Yep.
This will be something that Waste Zero will cart off and do on their own. So, but it'll reduce the amount of tonnage that normally people would put in their trash.
Now let me ask you something. For people like me who generally save that kind of stuff and donate it to like a Salvation Army or whatever nonprofit you want to donate it to, will Waste Zero actually take some of that stuff and use the usables?
They may. I think what they want to make clear is that this is not in competition with those charities.
Okay.
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 This would be something that if you're regularly donating,
Yep.
you know, at the boxes that we have at Town Hall and what have you at
Yep.
each individual school,
Yep.
you're still entitled to do
so.
that.
Yeah, but you
this
can
is
also use
something
this.
in addition
Yep,
to that.
Yep. And there's a lot of times where you have towels or things that have rips in them, and you don't want to donate them, but you can't throw them in the trash.
Right.
Well, you can, but you're right.
You
It makes
can.
your trash huge.
Yeah, so this is a great program,
And it's free to
right,
everybody.
It's free, and the bags will be furnished for free.
Yeah.
We think the start date will be Monday, October the 14th.
Great.
So people in Pembroke should be getting some kind of informational flyer by the beginning of October.
Excellent. And that piggyback on that, Pembroke joined the Social Recycling Cooperative, correct?
Right, I attended a meeting yesterday
Yeah.
in Kingston, was introduced as the newest member. We had been part of that about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And withdrew and went on our own. Our staff concluded that it was in the best interest of the community.
Sure.
Especially to be involved in hazardous waste days,
Yep.
where people, if they couldn't make the one in Pembroke, they could now go
Yes.
to some of our neighboring communities.
That's right.
And I believe on our town website.
There's 7 listed, 7 dates and 7 locations, and the nearest one is Pembroke Transfer Station, the Hanover Transfer Station, which is really close.
Right,
So that's
absolutely.
great. So it's good that the town has joined that. Okay, Community Center. Talk about the updates.
Right now, the Community Center Task Force, after being funded at town meeting,
Yep.
hired a firm, and they're called Bergman Unray Archetype Incorporated, and Joel Bergman is the lead in that, and they are conducting interviews right now with the various entities that may or may not be involved in a new community center.
Okay.
And that would be the Recreation
Yep.
Commission, Commission on Disabilities, the Food Pantry, the Council on Aging, anybody that is in the building right now that's a town entity is being interviewed by the firm, and they are going to be compiling a report in late fall.
All right.
For probably a full-blown report to town meeting in the spring of 2020.
Perfect. Okay, so more to follow. A Veterans Memorial Park. What's happening?
This is a project that was funded by community preservation funds. I think it was $35,000. And what it entails, and I'll read this, replacing and constructing 3 additional walkways and replacing 3 walkways to connect the 4 memorial monuments with a walkway around the monuments, plus a seating wall at the World War II monument. The brick walkways are partially funded by a buy a brick funding
that's nice. Those are nice.
situation
Yep.
that Brendan Gulnick, who is part of our staff now on a part-time basis, is spearheading.
Oh, that's a
and
great
so
idea.
you can buy a brick.
Yeah.
I believe it's $50 a brick, or you for $100, I think you can buy 3.
Okay.
And you can have them inscribed.
Yep.
I know that I'm going to be purchasing at least 2 in honor of my 2 brothers that served in the military.
Excellent.
One, my late brother Rick served in the U.S. Navy
Yep.
during Vietnam, and my youngest brother Mel served in the Air Force at the latter stages of Vietnam.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, you know,
so we all can do it as members of the town.
absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
And this is of course in front of First Church.
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's on property owned by the town, by the way.
Okay. That's not the church property.
Right.
Yep. That's going to be wonderful. Okay. Town Landing, guardhouse, ADA compliance.
Well, this is another project that is going to be funded partially by CPC funds. I know that the CPC committee has tentatively agreed to this. You know, so whether or not we have a fall town meeting, we'll have that commitment from the Community Preservation Committee for about $70,000.
Yep.
The total project is around $200,000.
Wow.
We are going to be applying to the State Commission on Disabilities for a construction grant to pay for the rest of that project. Now, this will entail a brand new guardhouse.
Okay. So what is a guardhouse? What's exactly the purpose of the guardhouse?
That's right now at the town landing. That's where we house all of the equipment that the lifeguards use.
Yep. Okay.
And they have you know, like a small refrigerator in there, so you know they can store their lunches and whatever.
Sure.
So we're going to increase the size of that because the bathrooms that we have are not ADA compliant.
Okay. Got it. Yep. Gotcha.
And so that's part of what we're doing. We're going to have to take down 1 or 2 of the trees that are located next to the current guardhouse in order to allow for the expansion.
You got to make it bigger. Yep.
We'll also be expanding the walkways that we have right now. And it's turned out to be very useful because, you know, having been there at the Family Fun Festival 2 weeks ago, we saw a lot of people that use these handicap mats just to walk on, to stay, you know, out of the hot sand or whatever. So it's really worked out really well.
Good.
And we're going to have that walkway, a rubberized walkway, go from the entrance at the parking lot, you know, parallel to Wampatuck Street, over to the playground that we have at the other side.
Perfect.
Also leading down to the docks that we have, and then we're going to take one of the docks and double the size to allow for more handicap accessibility on those docks.
Oh, that's great. That's
so
awesome.
we're looking forward to applying for that, I believe, in September.
Okay. And speaking of the ponds, we just got to say this year the ponds have been wonderful. They're tested on a weekly basis to make sure the water's great. But we really haven't had any issues, and people have been, and it's been so hot, people have been able to use the ponds. It's been really wonderful.
Well, I think the treatments that we have been using on Furnace Pond, Stetson Pond, Little Sandy, although I shouldn't say Little Sandy because Little Sandy's kind of spring-fed.
Right.
So that normally doesn't have any problems. But Oldham, you know, was the one that we had the big problem with.
Right.
You know, and our special thanks to the town of Hanson, who helped funded the treatment this year, because 20% of Oldham Pond is in Hanson.
Right, exactly.
And so we met with the members of their Board of Selectmen and their then town administrator, and they agreed that it was to their benefit to help keep the pond clean. And I know that Amy Hill, our waterfront director, said that she had never seen Oldham Pond that clear.
Right,
so
which is great.
It really worked out really
wonderful,
really
especially
well.
for the summer. It's been so hot. Okay, Herring Run Park Project.
Well, that's
I
currently
drove by
underway.
and it's what's going on?
Well, right now they're pouring concrete.
Okay.
I was there this morning. What it'll entail is making the bridge that goes across the one branch of the Herring Run, and there are two, as we know,
Yep.
at the park, that go over not the original Herring Run, but the one that was created 100 years ago
Yep.
to catch the fish.
Yep.
That bridge, will be made handicap accessible.
Great.
And then we'll be putting in a concrete structure that will allow us to place the water wheel that we had in a temporary location a couple of years ago.
Yep.
That was a donation and a gift for the town, for the 300th anniversary.
Right, remember that?
So that'll go in.
Yep.
And then Brad Chase from the Division of Marine Fisheries, his staff and crew will be preparing a fish ladder to go around the concrete structure that will house the water wheel.
Okay.
So all that is in place.
Great.
We expect the finalization of the concrete structure and the placement of the water wheel early next week. And then Brad Chase and the Division of Marine Fisheries will be in at the latter part of the week to do their thing to create that new fish ladder. And we're hoping that we have all that work done. Originally, it was scheduled for September the 1st.
Right.
We'll probably be in the first week of September. But we want to get all that stuff done before the herring start running.
Exactly. And when do they start running?
Well, they expected, the first couple of weeks in September.
September. Okay.
Now, if we're not done right with the project, we still have the fishway is still open.
Exactly. Right.
And talking to the conservation agent this morning, even if we're still working on the closed off portion of the herring run, we still have plenty of water and plenty of room for the fish to be migrating from Oldham Pond all the way through Pembroke, through the herring run, and through the park and out to the North River. And we shouldn't have any problems with that. But we'd like to have both branches open.
Yes. Okay. So we'll probably have a big splash about that when it's done. The census canvassing is beginning in the town between August 4th and October 18th. And the census, now this is posted on our website, so anybody who wants to get more information, this is done by the national government, right? The census comes around and they interview people, and they have special IDs so that you know that they're legitimate, so that not to be surprised that you'll have census people in your neighborhoods. The GAR Hall, the Boys Club building, the project's winding down, it's almost done.
Yeah, I mean,
Looks great.
That was funded, let me get my notes here, but I believe it was funded back in
That was a couple years ago?
2016,
Yeah,
the
a couple
annual
years
town
ago.
meeting.
Yep, we funded that.
And we've
Yep.
had a couple of additional articles. So we have, the project cost right now is up to $202,000. But it entails a complete restoration of the building, as you know.
Yep.
New roof, new siding.
Yep, new everything,
New
yeah.
paint job, new windows.
It looks nice.
Handicap accessible
Yeah.
ramp.
Yep.
A lot of work's been done.
Yeah.
New roofs in the front.
Yep.
It's
a beautiful
we're really
building
looking
now,
forward
yeah.
to have it completed, and it should be completed within the month.
Perfect. I personally am so thrilled about the next one, your complete street pavings and the streets that are being repaved. I know I travel on High Street every day to come to work and back, and it is like heaven. It's smooth. Then you go into Duxbury, it's like, oh, they didn't do theirs.
Well, this is the Complete Streets program is a program sponsored by the state. It kind of makes towns plan. I know some folks think it is some kind of plot to force towns into doing things that they don't really want to do.
Yeah.
I know the concern several years ago was that if they do any new streets, like for instance High Street, that if we resurfaced it, then we would be forced to put in sidewalks, for instance. Well, that was not true.
Correct.
And High Street's a great example of being able to pave a street. Valley Street we did.
Absolutely.
And not having to put sidewalks in. Now, that being said, the Complete Streets program, allows towns to start thinking about what they want to do in the future, and it assists them. A good example is the town of Rockland received $400,000 last week to redo some of the intersections through the Complete Streets program.
Wow,
So
that's a lot of money.
yeah, and so if we get involved in that, I'm going to bring this to the attention of the selectmen at their next meeting.
Sure.
And then we're going to have it on a future agenda, but they will need to adopt a policy. And then as part of the package that we would submit to the state, and our DPW folks have been to these training sessions already in the past. So they're familiar with the program. Now that yours truly is in charge of the Public Works Department, we've made that a high priority for us to get involved in that.
That's
and
great.
I think it's going to be a very positive influence, for our paving programs that we have in town.
Sure, excellent. Plastic bag ban is in effect now. There's
That's correct.
countdowns on all the stores you went in. It says 4 more days, 3 more days. So plastic ban, and people should be using reusable bags.
Yeah,
We
that's
all
going to be
should.
the key.
We all should. Yeah.
Living in a community that has that program, that's the way to go.
It's easy to get used to. It just becomes a habit.
Right.
You bring your bags with you. It's just a habit.
It's kind of like recycling was 10 years ago.
Exactly. You just get into the habit of doing
People
it.
get used to it.
Yep,
and,
absolutely.
When you grow up, and with the younger generation, growing up with that, then it's
part
easy
of their
for
life.
them to get.
That's right. It
That's
just
correct.
becomes part of their life. The mosquito spraying in our town. So the website does a wonderful job of keeping us up on exactly what is being sprayed where. The Department of Public Health that talks about the testing of the mosquitoes is great. So if anybody has any need for updated information, they can go to the website.
We almost get these updates from DPH on a daily basis.
If not twice a day.
That's true.
Yeah, I've seen them, but it's great. It's great.
It's great, and and we relay that message
right away
to our folks in town on our website.
Yeah, right away, and through social media. Your Facebook page is exceptionally good because it's just you can click through it and see everything.
and our sincere appreciation to obviously Sabrina Chilcotte in my office.
Yep.
And of course Deborah Wall,
Absolutely.
the library director, who really heads up our social media, Facebook page, and town website.
Right,
She does
absolutely. I couldn't
great
agree
job.
more. Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree more. The fire department had an incredible week a couple weeks ago. With they got a lot of press, a lot of really positive press, and it's wonderful. The structure fire that was on Oak Street, and it showed how Duxbury and Marshfield and Hanover will come in to help when the firefighters are called away. It's called mutual aid.
Right.
And we don't often have to do that, do we?
Well, I mean, fortunately for all the communities that are involved, structure fires are kind of rare.
Yes.
And so when it happens, these departments are well versed in manning the stations, or being on call when a department is using all of its resources.
Exactly.
For instance, at the structure on Oak Street. And so, fortunately, it doesn't happen as often as it seems, because of all the notoriety and the press that happens when something like that occurs.
Right, because you're right, it doesn't often happen in Pembroke. We don't often have it, but
basically the 95 to 99% of the calls in our town are ambulance runs.
Right.
Exactly.
And
and I think the chief, has been. I think the count is up to over 3,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so,
it's incredible.
and we're one of the few communities our size that actually has 3 ambulances. So those guys are busy, and the fact that every one of our firefighters is a paramedic,
which is huge.
Yeah,
it really
big time.
is. Yep.
Well, you got to be a paramedic to get hired by us now. So
there we go. High standards.
Yep.
We had a very successful art festival last weekend, which was wonderful. It was fun to go to. We have so many talented people in this town. It's incredible, and all put on by volunteers, which is just terrific.
Well, we have so many nice summer events.
Yeah, we do.
The Concerts on the Green by the Recreation Department.
On Sunday nights, yep.
The Pembroke, the Arts Festival, the fact that our swim program
Yeah.
had their annual Family Fun Festival,
cute.
which
Yeah.
was really, really attended
Really-
very
really well. Yep.
successfully. This
Yep.
I think it was August the 10th.
Yep.
It was a Saturday.
Yep. I know that Pembroke Celebrates again will be the fireworks and that in September. Though that's not a town-sponsored program, it's to highlight the people that work and volunteer in the town.
Well, I mean, the Board of Selectmen contributes
That's
to the fireworks celebration. So, there's
Yeah.
some sponsorship involved.
There is,
So.
and it's a wonderful, inclusive event for everyone in our town.
Right.
And the information's all over Facebook on that one. The Country Club cluster developing was passed
Correct.
at our town meeting. I've heard a lot of people say, well, what's happening? What's the next move? So can you tell us where that is right now?
Yeah, the process is that when you have, first of all, for any normal article, which is not a zoning bylaw, that gets approved by the Attorney General's office. And usually within a month or two, you get it approved.
Okay.
Zoning bylaws are a little bit different. It takes a little bit longer by the Attorney General's office. And the fact that we had 16 different
Oh, I know, it was crazy.
bylaws
Yeah.
dealing with the zoning issues, we were told by the Attorney General's office through the town clerk that they expect to have their formalization by September 1.
Okay, so by then we should know that they either approved it or didn't approve it, and we expect that they will approve it.
Right, they can maybe amend it, some wording that
Okay.
they feel
Yep.
needs to be done, but so I'm sure the developers are waiting.
Right, and that's when
on
they can start making their next move.
Yeah,
after it's
when
been
they
approved.
get that approved, they can then come back and start, they'll probably have some informal sessions with the planning board.
Sure, yep.
About what their
Yep.
proposal is, just like they did before town meeting.
Right.
And go from there.
So can I just ask you, because I don't quite understand this. So if the town votes on a zoning bylaw, why does it then have to be approved by an outside entity, in this case, the Attorney General?
That's the
It's just
law.
the law. Okay, so that's true of any town.
That's
It's
correct.
just bylaws have to
Absolutely.
be approved, because bylaws are kind of like the Bible that the
Sure,
town
exactly.
runs by. So it's almost like an oversight,
Yeah.
kind of? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's something, that's a holder. I think the state is kind of like lessening its role in local government.
Yes.
I think the Governor Baker's municipal modernization acts have gone a long ways into letting cities and towns in Massachusetts have more autonomy.
Exactly, right.
And this might be one of the last things
That we actually
the
have to do.
state
Yep,
will have to
yep.
deal with. Sure.
Makes perfect sense. And finally, the assessors are going around and assessing all of our houses in the entire town, correct?
Well, they have to do the revaluation, I believe it's every 3 years.
Okay.
And so it's not like they inspect every house.
Oh, they don't? Oh, I
Every
didn't know
3
that,
years.
okay.
I think
So it's on a sliding
I think that
progressive
there's
scale?
a percentage they would be hard pressed to
That's what I
inspect
figured.
6,000
How can you do all of
houses.
them? Right,
so.
right. So they do different houses on different years, that type of thing?
Yeah, I'm not speaking for the chief assessor, Kathy Salmon, but I think from a practical standpoint, that would be something that they would look at. They may do commercial entities and all that on a yearly basis,
Yep.
but
Okay.
I would.
Because I know I
would find
got a notice that said, we were here, we saw the exterior of your house, please call to make an appointment for us to come see the interior of house between the hours of this and this. So you're saying that not all the houses in the town will get that?
and you said you hadn't seen him in several years.
No, I haven't, no.
So,
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so town meeting this fall, we most likely will not have one,
Well, I think because of what we did in the spring,
which was huge.
we really made it a concerted effort to make sure that all of the budget obviously is always done in the spring.
Yeah.
That all of our capital funding for projects was done at the annual town
Yep.
meeting. That Mike Buckley, our town accountant, was great in in being able to pay for the snow and ice deficit
Right.
with funds that were available in the spring.
Yeah,
And so we didn't need to have a fall town meeting with monies left over from FY19
correct.
to be funded, to fund at a fall town meeting, which was almost always the case in the past, where we had a deficit that we had to fund, because you need to have a balanced budget before you can set a tax rate. Because you send a budget to the Department of Revenue
Yep.
balanced
Yep.
with all the revenues, all
These
the
are the ins,
expenditures.
these are the outs, yep.
And then when they certify that it's okay, I hope I'm using the right word, that they say, okay, you're good to go, you have a balanced budget, we approve it, then the assessors can send out, tax bills.
Okay,
Actual
yep.
tax bills,
Yep.
not an
Not
estimate.
estimated tax bills.
And the
Okay.
fact that we send 4 out a year,
Yeah.
usually the first one is an estimate.
Yep.
Sometimes the second one
Yep.
may be an estimate, but the third
Third
and
and
the
fourth
fourth
one
are
are the
definitely
actual.
actual.
Yep. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Anything else happen in the next couple of months?
Well, I think we're going to try to wind up some of these summer projects. We're going to be looking at a couple for next spring. Basically, Tubbs Meadow, for instance.
Yep.
We need to do some work on the trails and the parking area and some signage, because those signs after a while fade.
Of course they do.
Yep. And we want to tell the public that this is what you can and can't do.
Right.
For instance, we had to put them at Stetson and at Little Sandy and at Town Landing
Yeah.
to say, you can't bring your dog
Right.
on the beach while there are people here.
Right, yeah.
Things
Come
like
on,
that.
kids.
I
Common
know.
sense, yeah.
And then people will go, well, where's that say that,
Yeah. Yeah, well,
And you
true,
got to
true.
point to the signs
Yeah.
to see
There it is. Yeah.
dogs on a
Yep,
leash,
yep.
no dogs during the day,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
So your office must just see just a bevy of all kinds of different things all the time.
Yeah, and we're, right now we're bringing in temporary folks because, we have one person on maternity leave.
Yep.
And we lost one of our really good grant writers to the city of Fall River.
Shoot.
I know, so we're trying to figure out how we're gonna, fill
Yeah,
those positions.
yeah.
But right now, because it's a little slow in the
Yep.
summer, we've got, some temporary folks in there helping
great. That's-
Sabrina out in the
That's
office,
wonderful.
so.
That's what. And my one last question. We have 1 minute left. The lights from Pleasant Street onto Route 53. Those do you know when that might be finished?
Hopefully, they will be done by the end of the fall.
Great.
They thought that maybe March, but we all know that between January and February and March,
Yeah.
not a whole lot's going to get done.
Exactly.
So I really think, and talking to the DPW director just a couple of days ago, that Landers is really, really pushing hard
Yep, to get
to
it
get
done.
everything done,
Great.
before the weather hits.
Good. Excellent. Wonderful. Until next time. Okay, this has been Julie Thompson. I am the guest host for Pembroke Today with Ed Thorne, the town manager of Town of Pembroke.